So hello and welcome to another episode of Oblate Gaming. Today I'm going to be addressing the elephant in the room. It's like, what do you do when you run out of PED? So what I'm seeing at the moment is we've got a whole bunch of new players coming into the game, and they are enjoying playing Setesh. And Setesh is great. Gives you ammo, gives you ped flow, gives you armor that you can sell, whole bunch of good stuff. But what happens when you head back to Calypso and you basically run out of ped? You know, what are you supposed to do? Now, I'm going to talk about 5 things that you need to be doing, right? And the first one of the things that you need to be doing is you need to be pacing yourself. You need to be treating this game less like just a game that you sit down and play, and more like resource management and, you know, really thinking about everything that you're doing. Does it meet your goals? And even in the early days, this game will take your ped. Okay, it's designed to take your ped, and in the early stages, everything you do, any of the game mechanics around hunting, crafting, and mining, they will all lose you money. So if you do any of those things, you will run out of ped. So what you need to do is think about, how do I get myself budget to do those things? Okay? And it's about, what I'm going to talk about today is, how do you get budget to do the various parts of this game, which are fun, you know. And if you don't find the game mechanics fun, then this game is just simply not for you. But if you're thinking, how do I get enough ped to go out, do some hunting, do some crafting, do some mining, whatever it is that you like, whichever gameplay loop that you like. If that's what you're thinking, then this video is going to help you out. If you like the stuff that I do, please like and subscribe. And yeah, please leave a comment down if you have a different opinion to me, or you have different thoughts that you can be doing. So, first thing, what do you need to do? So the first thing you need to be doing is, or the first thing you can do if you run out of ped, is you can deposit. Very, very simple. You pay and you put money into the game. Now, there are various ways to put money into the game, and what I'm going to do is just talk to you about the different varieties of that. So the first thing is the starter pack. If you have not purchased the starter pack and you are planning to put money into the game, buy the starter pack. There is just nothing better than the $20 starter pack, which will get you a good efficiency gun. You will be using that quite a lot in the early stages, and it will be a better return than if you are using the TT guns or other bits and pieces that are scattered around. So first thing you need to do is get yourself that starter pack. Once you get that starter pack, my advice is never straight buy ped. Okay, you've got 2 main options that I see when you're basically depositing money into the game. How long have I got there? Another 4 seconds. Perfect. This is the last kill, and then I'll show you. So I'll just put you on hold for a second, and then I will just finish this one and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm not going to spend too long on the shop, but yep, you got the $10 starter pack. If you have 20, always buy the 20. So just buy the $20 starter pack. You will not regret it. There's also a bunch of stuff in there that ultimately you can end up selling if you really want to. So the next thing, once you've got that starter pack, when you want to be putting money into the game, the first thing you want to do is you want to be buying this large universal ammo pack, or basically the ammo pack. Now the reason that you are buying the ammo pack is because you are getting enough ammunition You're basically getting your PED's worth of ammunition. So if you spend $100, you're going to get $100 of ammunition. You are also going to get some loot pills, which you will be able to convert in your... I can show you, I think I've shown you that trick before, but basically you can sell it. You can't sell it directly to the TT machine. What you have to do is you use your you use your refiner, you throw the items into the refiner, you refine them, and it gives you ammo. So basically you will get more than 100 PEDs worth of ammo if you buy this. And you'll also get some of these HDNA, which again, if you find a seller, sorry, if you find a buyer, they do sell. They don't sell for a lot, but they do sell. But the other thing is, it can pick you back up in an emergency. So if you've traveled a long way, you end up dying, you're one shot away, or you've got a, you can run faster than the monster that you're shooting. It can get you out of a pickle. But anyway, I do recommend, this is one of the ways. This is the main way that I put into the game. The other way is through these strong boxes. So you can get 50 strong boxes and keys, and what will happen is when you open these strong boxes, you will get 50 USD TT value of items. Now sometimes you may get lucky and you may get an item that's worth more than the TT value that is shown on the item. So for example, you might get a mayhem amp, or you might get a ring, or you might get, I mean, the rings are quite rare, but the amps are a little bit more common. I mean, they're still quite rare, but you do get them. And if you do that and you get a good hit, then you can potentially get more than the 50 USD that you're putting in. If you put in purely as PED, I think so you're going to get 570 PED for $60, which is not $1 equals 10 PED. So just don't do this. Ultimately, you will have to burn through this ammo, but you want to be playing the game anyway, and ammo you can use for mining and for hunting. And when you get hunting, you can turn it into nanocubes. So I do recommend these are the two ways to put money into the game if you're planning to do it. And just budget yourself. A lot of the MMORPGs, World of Warcraft, whatever, costs $20 a month. Get your $20 a month of small ammo packs and budget yourself. Enjoy playing the game, take your time, chill. This game is about the journey, because the destination is different for everybody, and not everybody is going to be an endgame player. So you've got to enjoy just being part of the community, doing fun things, going out on team hunts, and just slowly building up your skills and abilities. So first way to do this is to deposit money into the game, which I guess a lot of you won't want to hear, but that's probably the best way to do it. Now, the second way that you can, that basically you can make money, is by finding certain items. So, let me just quickly go in here. Whilst you are running around in the world, you will find things on the floor. And those things you will find on the floor will be things like stone, like this. It will be fruit, like paplon, bombardo, carrot, and sometimes you will find dung, common dung. Now all of this stuff just lies around on the ground. It has no TT value, so you can't sell it into the trade machine, but players will buy it off you. Typically, they will buy it off you at relatively low values, so 1,000 fruit, and you can mix these for the most part. 1,000 fruit will get you maybe 5 PED, but as you're running around, you might only find like 20 in a stack. And honestly, they're very random finds. So it's, in terms of purely using your time and knowing what return you're going to get back on your time, I just don't recommend it. You will pick them up over time, you will find them, and if and when you find them, fantastic, stick them in your bank, and eventually you'll be able to sell them and get a little bit of PED. So what else? So if you, the next way to do is to sweat, and it sounds really boring, and quite honestly, it is really boring. But it's also easy, low maintenance. You just have to be paying a little bit of attention. And so when I say you've just got to pace yourself and plan, one of the things that you probably want to be doing is you equip your VSE, and then you're going to run out. And this is one of the two key sweating areas on Calypso. You're going to run down here, you're going to target your monster, you're going to click your VSE, and you are going to suck sweat from it, so water basically, and then you're going to sell that. So, you know, every so often you get a little bit more. So I got 4, so that's 6 in total so far. And the reason you do this in a group is because if the monster hits you whilst you're sweating it, it will interrupt your sweating. So it is best to do it in a group like this. And if you come to Boris or you go to Royal Club, which I'll go to in a second, as you are as you're in a group, you're not going to get hit very often. If you try and solo sweat, you'll increase your evade skill, but you won't get as much sweat per hour. You just won't. So how much money can you get for this hard-earned sweat? We sat there for a few seconds there. We got, what, 10 sweat? So you need to get 1,000 sweat, and then you will be able to sell it for probably somewhere between 1.3 to 1.5 PED. There are events that happen where you can sell it for more than that, but for the most part, you are looking at 1.3 to 1.5 PED per 1,000. 1,000 when you're sweating in a group will take you somewhere between, I mean, maybe others can correct me here, but probably around an hour and a half, maybe an hour if you get lucky. But you're not going to be making a lot of money. And you know, one of the things I always say to people is, if you are coming into this game to make money, you can, but you're probably not going to be playing the core mechanics of the game very much, especially if you're starting from scratch and not putting any money in. Okay, so I'm just going to show you. I'm down at Royal Club. If you ask somebody nicely, they might fly you down here. But also what you can do is you can go to Port Atlantis teleporter, talk to the teleporter guy, and he will give you this teleporter down here for New Oxford. You hop into New Oxford, and then you just run down here, avoiding monsters. But it's a bit of a run, but it can be done. And then you just jog up here, and as you can see, there's a whole bunch of green dots here. This is a whole bunch of people basically sweating, and yeah, probably at the same time as sweating, they're probably catching up on Netflix or watching YouTube or watching the football game or whatever it is that you're doing, because as you saw earlier, this is not high maintenance gaming. And so what you want to be thinking about is, when you are in your downtime, when you're not hunting or doing anything else, say you are just chilling out watching YouTube, you know, if you have the capability of doing it, just have this on in the background. Come up to a sweat circle like this, and all you're going to be doing is, you know, I play on a laptop. you know, have the laptop on your lap. Can't get any more sweat from this one, but this one over here probably is going to give us some. So just target it and, you know, chill. Right, I'm going to watch me TV now, and I'm going to watch me TV. I'm going to keep an eye on the game. When this is dry, somebody's going to run off, pull another creature, and bring it back. And when they do, great, you just start sweating the next one. So that's what this is one of the free ways of making money in the game. But again, we are talking about you know, maybe you're going to get an average of 1 PED an hour doing this. Now 1 PED an hour is 10 cents. So obviously it does not make sense if you are trying to really make money in the game doing this. But if you've got no budget, you just want to chill whilst you're watching TV, make a little money so you can do some hunting later, this is one of the best, or this is the most, what's the word, the most guaranteed way of making PED. Okay, but you will very rarely find me here because I value my time more than that. The only time I will be here is if I'm just watching TV. I'd rather work in a couple of extra hours at work, earn a bit more money, and yeah, spend it on the game and enjoy the hunting when I play the hunting. Although I say that, I'm not actually an hourly based worker. But anyway, that's sweating. Guaranteed, you will make money. People will buy sweat. You know, if you absolutely want to sell it and you go onto the chat and say, hey, got sweat for 1.25, somebody's going to buy it. 1.3, probably somebody's going to buy it. 1.4, you might have to be more patient, and then, you know, you have to be lucky to get 1.5 or above. You can sell it at 2 or sometimes more in events. There used to be some streamers that were paying 6, but unfortunately that got shut down. It was a mix of Twitch and MindArc, not wanting that happening. So anyway, is what it is. Sweating is your third option. So first option, go spend some money. Second option, fruit walking as they call it. Third option is sweating. Now the fourth option is, again, part of an overall strategy, is trading. So one of the other things you can do, which is free, except you have to have some money to make money. Okay, but if you want to do some, if you want to, the most guaranteed way of making money is buying and then selling for more. Okay, and one of the key ways to do this is a couple of guys that do this a lot. We're at Twin Peaks, sorry, yeah. So if you come over here to Twin Peaks, you will find almost 24/7. I don't know when they sleep. There'll always be somebody here buying hunting stuff. And what they are doing is they are buying hunting stuff and just general mats, and then they will have buyers for the. So here we go, Mr. Snow. So he is always here. I don't know a time where he's not here. In Cali Trade, he's always in here saying he's buying stuff. He will buy things from you at, you know, less than markup, and then he will give you some markup, and then he will go and sell it somewhere else. So the two that, when I'm dumping stuff, the two that I dump on are Mr. Snow, and then over at Archipelago Atlantis, another one over here is Velazari. So I hope they don't mind me calling them out. But when I'm selling my hunting loot, it usually goes to one of those. To be honest with you, mine usually goes to Vel. So he's usually got some. Again, they're not the best prices. He's got to make some money as well. But these guys do it. Now, you can also become that person. There's been a few that have appeared in the last few months. There's like Satomics. I mean, again, I don't know if they mind me calling them out, but it'll be right down the bottom of here. Just a moment. So, oh, okay, not there. But anyways, there's a lot of there's been some new ones recently, and basically what you're looking at doing is you're looking at buying items on the Cali Trade or on the auction house that are effectively under markup, and then trying patiently to sell them for markup. Now, this is the most guaranteed way of making money, and you can make good money, but it requires a lot of patience, a lot of time in game, the right timing. You know, as you see here, Cali Trade wants to sell animal oil residue 103. You know, let's look at the markup on this. It's 100.89, 100.4. So if I find the right buyer, I can get 100.89, or on the auction house I can get probably about 100.89. So, but it's selling in the right volumes, and it's selling in the right volumes where if you're selling on the auction house, the auction fees don't hurt you. So you have to be selling in volumes. But what you can do in the early days is, you know, for example, if you have 20, 30 PED, you know, go buy yourself one of the cheaper Aries rings, and, you know, see if you can get it for plus 2 PED, and then try and sell it for plus 4 PED. And so you'll be making a small profit, and that's the way you've got to do it. You can either then spend that small profit on going on a small hunt, or you can keep it and buy something else and try and slowly get up. So, you know, maybe you buy, you know, towards what else we got in here that's not a bad price. Unreal tokens, for example. You know, people want to get rid of Unreal tokens. Maybe you can buy them for 12, sell them if you're patient for 14 or 13 and a half or something. So everything you're doing is about slowly building up your PED card so that you have money to invest in the future, or to spend, just chilling. So they are the basically the four options you have for getting money in the game. 1, spend real money. 2, fruit walking. 3, sweating. And 4, trading. And all of them are going to be a way of playing the game. And as I said, if you're early game and you're not spending, use your downtime to sweat, right? Use your downtime to sweat. Keep an eye on sweat prices. Keep an eye on sweat prices, and understand how much, you know, you can buy for, sell for. Maybe you buy from the guy stood next to you in the sweat circle for 1.25, and then you sell it for 1.4 later. You know, that's what you got to be thinking about. And then just, as I said, enjoy the game. The most important thing is to enjoy playing the game. Enjoy the journey. It's not about getting to skill level 100 as quickly as possible. I mean, I watched a video the other day that was talking about how to get from 0 to 100. And yeah, great video. But the amount of PED that must have got spent getting from 1 to 100 is crazy. You know, and the PED card that you have to get between 1 to 100. You know, it's like you're not doing that without spending money. You're just not. Not doing it fast. You can do it, but it's going to take you years unless you actually spend money. So that's it. That's the end of this video. I'm sorry it's probably not what anybody wants to hear, but that's the reality of this game. You know, you've finished Setesh, you're all ready to go, and all of a sudden you burn through all your PED. You need to be planning ahead. You need to be funding somehow your burn. And hunting, crafting, and mining will burn PED, especially early on. And to be honest with you, pretty much always. You know, crafting, you've got to pick the right things to craft. Mining, you've got to pick the right things to mine. And hunting, you've got to pick the right things to hunt with markup. So, but that's a whole different story and conversation for a different day. Right now, this one's just about how to make money when you're starting out, and your options are spend it from your wallet, from your personal money, um, fruit walk, which is not guaranteed, sweat, which is guaranteed, and trading, which is guaranteed but requires initial money and patience. So I hope you liked the video. Please like and subscribe. If there's any other ways you can think of, please let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, I hope to see you all in another video soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.